Thanks for joining me today. We are going to be talking about gravel riding and specifically about my Cannondale Topstone. It's a 2021 version. First, I want to talk about why I bought a gravel bike. I've been able to do bicycle commuting to work with this. I can put some slicks on here. I have some extra tires, 28C tires. I do some road riding with it. I've done mixed terrain gravel riding with it, and I do plan on doing some touring with it, and I feel very comfortable on it. So the ability to have one bike to do a lot of different things. With that being said, if you're going to do competitive cyclocross or competitive road riding, or you're doing strictly, let's just say, long distance touring or touring in a different country, then yeah, you might want to consider getting a bike specific for that purpose. Gravel riding allows me to actually combine two things that I really like, which is hiking and biking. So not only do I get to bike on the road, but I also get to do a lot of the areas that I like to hike in. In Oregon, have fire roads and other access roads that allow you to explore the same area without interfering with hikers on hiking trails or doing crazy mountain biking trails. Now, there are a lot of mountain biking trails in Oregon, and I have done some downhill mountain biking, and there are some serious mountain biking spots around here, and I'm just thinking, one wrong slip, a little bit extra mud. I mean, some of those straight off a cliff. And for me, I like to have a little bit more certainty in my activities that I'm going to go home in one piece. And so being able to do sort of cross-country style mountain bike riding on a bike that like this is really nice. And I also like to ride my bike to the trails in which I ride. So rather than driving to the trail with a mountain bike and then driving home, with the gravel bike, I can actually ride to a lot of the trails that I enjoy, ride the trails, and then ride home. So a lot of miles in one day on one bike. Now, the price is something that you or everyone, I suppose, should consider. Gravel bikes are not cheap. This thing was $1,900 and it was $2,150 MSRP. There was a lot of gravel bikes, especially these 2022 models. I don't know if you guys have checked out some of these 22 models. They are ridiculous. Everything is going up $200 to $300 for the same components, same wheel set, same frame and fork set, same equipment as the year before, maybe a few touch-ups. Oh my goodness, it is so expensive. Now, the nice thing about a lot of companies is they have gravel bikes, such as the Cannondale Topstone, with a variety of different models. So you can get a Sora 2x9 group set, or you can get a 2x10 or a 1x10 or a 2x11 105 group set. Some of the companies that are doing the 105s are switching straight over to the GRX because it's gravel specific. So no point in putting a road bike specific group set on a bike that people are going to be using off-road. So that's driving the price point up here. But the point is, what's driving the price point up is these group sets, is the GRX group set. It's not the frame and the forks per se. So the nice thing that I like about Cannondale is that you get the same frame and fork set throughout their whole lineup. So depending on your price point, you're not sacrificing the quality of the materials in the frame, or the frame geometry, or the frame, the mounting points, or other aspects of the higher quality bikes. You're not losing it in the lower quality bikes, so you can upgrade the components later. However, a lot of the videos that I've seen on the Cannondale, a lot of these people are actually upgrading their components relatively soon after getting the bike. So I would say probably worth spending the money and buying the model that you want straight from the factory rather than upgrading later, because a lot of people just end up upgrading it anyway. You do get a lot for the money. You're getting an aluminum frame, which is relatively lightweight. You're getting a full carbon fork. You're getting the mounts. You're getting the ability to run different size tires. The group set alone, I mean, you're looking at $500, $600, $700 just for that, plus another $900 to $1,000 for the frame and fork, and then all the other little bells and whistles. So even if you were to try and build it on your own, you're still looking at a pretty penny. Save up and test out a lot of bikes. Go on pinkbike.com, try and find used, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and you can shave a few $100 off that way. One of the things that I really like about this bike is that it's lightweight. So if you are on the trails and you come across a spot where you have to pick the bike up, this bike comes in at around 2,100 pounds for the medium, and so it's very, very easy to lift above your head and carry over obstacles. The braking is phenomenal. As you've seen in maybe some of my other Cannondale videos, I really like the Shimano brakes over SRAM. My last bike had SRAM, and I really don't like them. You're pulling the levers almost all the way back to the bar, so it's very unnerving when you're going downhill at 40 miles an hour. But with this, you can do one finger braking from the hoods, and you can also do some pretty aggressive braking from the drops. And it inspires a lot of confidence in those situations that would otherwise be pretty sketchy. So I really like the positive brake feel. It hits a really nice wall at the end. There's no sponginess. So I do highly recommend Shimano if you're looking at bikes. The shifting is great. I'm not going to say that it's perfect. No shifting really is perfect. This shifting is on par with the SRAM group set that I've used before. I will say the best shifting that I've ever had is from my trigger shifting Shimano Sora shifters on my Fuji 2x9. Love trigger shifters. I think that they have the best shifting that I've ever experienced. However, I would say that this shifting is very, very good, especially if you time your shifting correctly. And I really do like the 1134 cassette, 11 speed. It gives you a lot of, it's very modular in that every shift is just every cassette is slightly different than the next one. So you don't have these huge jumps or huge gaps in the cassette rings. I also love the clutch derailleur. I'm going to compare the chain slack to the one on the Fuji, and as you can see, the clutch derailleur makes a huge difference. So no more chain hitting your chain stays, and it's really, really stiff. So I am in love with this clutch derailleur. It's really, really awesome. It's got large jockey wheels on the rear derailleur as well. Size-wise, this is a great size bike for me. I am 5'7" with a 30-inch inseam, and this is a medium. And I would say that if this bike was much bigger, I probably would downsize. When I tried the large, I could still stand over it, although it was riding up quite a bit, if you know what I mean. However, the small was very small, and I could tell that it was smaller than any bike that I've ever owned or ridden before. So the medium I knew was for me. I will say if your inseam is any less than 29 inches, I would go with the small. The medium is great for anyone with an inseam of around 30 to 32. But of course, you want to hop on one of these bikes and size it for yourself. Now, the nice thing about the Cannondale is that it comes in a small, medium, large. And so, you know, you try one size, you can quickly figure out which other size that probably fits you best, rather than some of these other bikes where they come in 52s, 54s, 56s, 58s. It can be a little bit harder to determine what the right size is for you. Now, you can always go on to 99spokes.com and type in the bikes of interest that you're looking to buy and compare their geometry, their standover height, their head tube angles, their bottom bracket heights, and compare the geometries to figure out if they're similar or vastly different from bikes that you currently own, so you can help better understand if this geometry and this frame shape and size is right for you. So for this bike here, I will say I put I have this Blackburn adjustable large size frame bag on here, which is great. It can take up the whole triangle if you drop it down. But right now I just have my spare inner tube, pump, tire levers. I haven't gone tubeless yet, but I'll probably be going tubeless within the next month or two. I put a pair of Bontrager fenders on here, which I made another video about. You'll see in some of the videos that they rattle a little bit. The front one rattles when you're going over aggressive trails. However, for road riding, they are very quiet, and for hard packed surfaces, they are very quiet. But you do get some bottom play in this, in the front fender. And I think a part of that is because it just has one stay, not two. But for this bike, because the mounts are in the inside of the fork, I wanted to steer away from having two stays and bringing that bolt out closer to the spokes. So I went with just the single stay. But I will say these are great for touring. These are going to be great for commuting. They're great for hard packed surfaces. But if you're going to do a lot of aggressive off-road riding, probably not going to run fenders anyway. And it has nice mounts for a rear rack as well. I haven't put a rear rack on this yet, but when I do some touring with it, I'll make another video on that. And last but not least, I did put a pair of race face Chester pedals, 35 bucks on Amazon, different colors. These are fully serviceable, which is really nice. You can take that spindle out, and you can also change off these little screw peg things, and your feet stick to these. My only complaint with these is that they are very large pedals. So I've got thinner feet, and so most of the time my foot's not taking up the whole width of the pedal. However, they are very great. I have no complaints with that. Other than that, the bike is totally stock. I will say that I will be swapping out the seat at some point. I'm going to try and break it in for another month or so, but right now it feels like I'm sitting on a 2x4, so I don't know how long that's going to last. However, what would you expect from a stock saddle anyway? In any case, if you have any questions or comments about this bike, please leave them down below. If you want to see any other videos on the Cannondale Topstone, let me know, and I'm more than happy to dive in. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.